This is San Diego News Daily.
Hello and welcome to San Diego News Daily. I'm Monica Hernandez. San Diego police are investigating a deadly shooting in Grantville that killed a 19-year-old man. Investigators say the shooting happened outside the Union Grantville apartment complex just before 10:30 Friday night. When officers arrived, they couldn't find the victim at the scene. A short time later, police were called to a car crash on Mission Gorge Road. Officers later found the 19-year-old man in the back seat with a gunshot wound. The driver of the car says he was trying to take the man to a hospital after the shooting before they crashed. Investigators believe a fight may have broken out before the shooting, but a motive remains unclear. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. An emergency room nurse is healing this morning after what she thought would be a routine day on the job turned into a disaster. The woman survived a helicopter crash during the popular off-roading race in Mexico called the Baja 500. NBC 7's Jeanette Quesada has her story and the Good Samaritans who stepped in to help.
Katie says she's grateful for everyone who survived and everyone who helped them along the way. As a team air medic for the Baja 500 race, Katie Lowe never thought her crew would be in need of medical care.
Unfortunately, we were the ones that got injured.
There was strong winds, and I believe that played a huge factor in them spinning.
Edward Lopez runs the helicopter fueling base. He watched from the ground as the disaster unfolded. Katie says as the helicopter was swept up, she looked to brace herself.
I've just never felt that before, not knowing whether or not I was gonna live or die. So it was pretty scary, and I'm just grateful to be alive. I felt like I couldn't take a deep breath or catch my breath.
Lopez remembers the helicopter crashing to the ground and rolling over. Upon seeing the pilot bleeding from his head, she says her medical instincts kicked in.
Once I clicked out, I landed on my hands and knees, and I went to try to go over towards him, and the pain in my back was just so severe.
As that's happening, we're already running towards them.
Lopez was among the rescue team that pulled them to safety. Once they turned off the engine, they pulled both of them out of the helicopter. Pilot were both flown back to Grantville Airport, where her husband Mike was waiting for her.
We're incredibly grateful for everything that everybody did to take care of her and get her home.
Katie sustained compression fractures to her T7 and T8 vertebrae, along with a rotator cuff tear and a labrum tear. The pilot also sustained a laceration in his forehead and a broken nose. Katie says they've been checking in on each other every day.
I just feel lucky to be alive.
I'm not a big person of faith, but after this accident, I believe that has changed. And I know they were protected by the grace of God.
Katie says she's overwhelmed with the love and support she's received from friends and the community. Now she's focused on beginning her long road to recovery, and for that, she will need an adjustable bed and says that any help from the community is much appreciated. Jeanette Quesada, NBC 7.
Thank goodness they survived. A fighter jet from MCAS Miramar crashed in Washington state, sparking a wildfire. This is video of smoke from yesterday's fire as emergency crews battled the flames from the air. According to the Marine Corps, the FA-18 Hornet went down near Rimrock Lake. That's about 55 miles outside Seattle. They say the pilot ejected safely and was rescued by local sheriff's deputies. At this time, no word on the pilot's name. The 2-acre fire forced evacuations and shut down roads for hours. A string of wildfires flared across San Diego County over the past 2 weeks, scorching land from Camp Pendleton to the U.S.-Mexico border. With temperatures climbing and vegetation dry, fire officials say conditions remain primed for the possibility of flames. Now they're sounding the alarm over one of the biggest seasonal threats, fireworks. Firefighters say drought conditions have made grasses and brush dangerously dry, which can fuel fast-moving wildfires. With the 4th of July on the way, firefighters say if people want to enjoy fireworks, it's better to stick to watching professional displays like the Big Bay Boom.
If you have a stray spark that goes into a field and it lights off the field, now you have a big problem. And you've created a big problem not only for yourselves, but for the entire community at large.
Firefighters say one of those brush fires, the November fire in Oceanside, ended up burning more than 570 acres and took 2 days to put out hot spots. CAL FIRE says the best way to keep yourself safe during fire season is to make sure you have defensible space and download the Genesis Protect app on your phone to keep updated on alerts and evacuations. Remember this train derailment that happened in the East Village last weekend that closed down the Harbor Drive overpass? Well, good news for drivers. A week later, it's now back open. You might remember it was closed as crews assessed the damage after the derailed train crashed into one of the support beams for the bridge. The city of San Diego says it worked with BNSF railway crews to install support structures for the damaged column. The city says it is working with the train company on a plan to permanently repair the damaged section, but right now the bridge is once again safe for traffic. NBC 7 meteorologist Brooke Martell will have a look at your weather right after this.
You count on breaking news
People running in the streets, they have their kids, they have their pets.
and help preparing for the unexpected.
Small fire right now. We'll keep an eye on it.
You count on stories from your community. You count on getting different points of view
We're still human.
and your voice being heard.
We need help.
You count on in-depth reporting
It's a mess and it's making people sick.
because you know the whole story is more than just the headline. This is coverage you count on, only on NBC 7 and Telemundo 20.
Lots going on in the forecast this week, and taking a look at what you can expect outside this morning. Overcast skies to start out along the coastline. Take some time when it comes to letting those clouds mix out for those coastal communities. Warmer this afternoon once again for the Inland Valley communities, but will be mild at the coast. I do want to emphasize that beach hazard statement for the coast has been extended through the end of this upcoming week. Here's a look at your conditions in the next hour as we go into about 9 a.m. Upper 60s along the coast, low 70s for the inland valleys. We'll have some 70s for the mountains, mid 90s for the desert region. And back to the beach hazard statement, as you can see, like I mentioned, extended through 11 p.m. Friday. We're talking wave heights generally up to about 7 feet, but strong rip current risk as well as longshore current risk. And that's the type of current that just kind of pulls you parallel along the coastline there. Your coastal forecast for Oceanside looks like this. You can see the water temperature from the upper 60s. This really goes for most of the coastline here in San Diego County. Wave heights over this stretch of the coast up to 5 feet. High tide around 11:15 this morning. Low tide close to 3:30. The temperatures are going to be great if you have the beach day planned, right around those low 70s. Again, give the clouds some time to mix out. UV index still on the higher level here at a 10 by noon. So just make sure you have the hat, sunglasses, the SPF. You want to find some shade periodically and limit time outside if you're especially sensitive to these conditions. Over El Cajon, you can see better chances for some sunshine here earlier on. Mid 80s though, it's going to be warming up here once again. In some cases, your temperatures are trending about 5 to 10 degrees above seasonal averages, mainly for those areas that are over the inland valleys as well as the mountains. So hour by hour for the San Diego County Fair forecast shows that by tonight, we're still hanging on to some low 70s by 6 o'clock. So before the sun goes down, but then once it does, we're still close to those upper 60s. It's going to be nice tonight out there, not just for the coast, but also across the inland valley communities. But during this afternoon, if you are heading to the beach, I mean, really looking at, like I said, some nice temperatures I showed you with Oceanside, low to mid 70s, and for the inland valleys, low 80s up to the low 90s. We'll have similar conditions over the mountain communities, a little bit breezy here at times, nothing out of the ordinary, but some of those winds could gust up to about 30 miles per hour. Same thing over the desert region, temperatures there up to about 110. What's changing in the forecast? Something always is. You can see this low pressure system coming in from the southwest. Looking ahead to about Tuesday night, this is going to impact us as we go into the end of the week. So really not a huge change. It means more mild temperatures, however. So daytime highs are going to drop off just a little bit. This is what it looks like on the 10-day forecast for the coast. It means more low 70s versus mid 70s. And it also means for the inland valley communities, getting out of the 80s and back to some upper 70s, taking us through the weekend. And next Sunday, actually, that is the first day of summer already. For the mountain communities, we can see that same trend happening. 80s the first few days of this week, back to the 70s we go by the end of it. However, for the desert region, we will cool down a little bit there. We're closer to 110 throughout the next few days before we get closer to the low 100s by the end of this upcoming week, Monica.
All right, Brooke, thank you. And check out the crowd here in Encinitas, where it was a weekend full of surfing, music, and community for the 22nd annual Switchfoot Bro-Am Beach Fest at Moonlight Beach. The event uses music, surfing, and storytelling to support youth across San Diego. It includes an adaptive surf lesson with the Challenged Athlete Foundation. The Bro-Am was started by members of the San Diego band Switchfoot. There is much more coverage you count on at NBC7.com. I'm Monica Hernandez. Thanks for watching.